So now it's time to dig in. WWE 2k23 Ringside Report number 1. Numero uno. Okay, let's hype it up. All right, so we have the first subject in hand. It's War Games. You heard that right. We're going to be talking about War Games. It's finally in WWE 2k23. Originally created by Dusty Rhodes in 1987, it re-debuted in NXT TakeOver in 2017. And now they brought it to the main roster in 2022. Survivor Series War Games. Alright, so in 2k23, players can finally step into the double ring, double steel cage match for the first time in a video game, competing in either 3v3 or 4v4 multiplayer. Now, it is going to be online and it will also be offline, so if you're scared that this is an online only mode, no worries. Vice versa, it's not only an offline mode, and there is going to be 3 arenas you're going to be able to utilize, and we'll get into that shortly. But they're bringing War Games to the WWE 2K franchise, and this is what they're saying. Internally, we've known that we wanted to feature this match type for a long time. Hey man, a lot of people have been begging for this match. They've been reading. While developing 2K22, we were able to make some under the hood changes that would allow us to make this a reality for 2K23. We knew this would require a team-wide effort. Yeah, I'm sure it did, man. What they did with War Games, based on the gameplay we've seen, it's quite a spectacle and an accomplishment. It's something we haven't really seen in any of these games. The closest thing to War Games is kind of Elimination Chamber, if I'm honest, which would challenge us in almost every aspect of the game, from objects to arenas, entrances, cage combat, dives, springboards, AI, and so much more. This mode could have been super bugged out and could have been terrible, but from everything we've seen, it's looking real smooth, so I'm happy that they took their sweet time with it ultimately. And I did see in that Lionel Jinx interview that Brian Williams, who came back to the 2K team, came back to the WWE games, joined the 2K team to help them launch this mode. So as soon as we could play it, we immediately saw how much fun our players are going to have, given all of the different situations that War Games introduces, such as superstars entering the ring at intervals, creating 2v1, 3v2 situations. With cage combat, weapons, and the area between the 2 rings, which we named the Trench, we knew this would be a totally new space for combat, so we had to go to the drawing board and think about what kind of interactions users would expect to have there. We had so much fun bringing this mode to life, and I know our players will feel our passion and have a great time playing it. And make no mistake about it, it looks outstanding. It looks out. Now, I know it was a filtered demo. They didn't allow us to use every single superstar in the videos we saw. Shit, I'm acting like I played the game. They didn't allow the content creators to use every single superstar. It was a handful, I think. And that's why we've seen the same gameplay over and over. But in every video we've seen, it looks silky smooth. And for them to have accomplished that, like I said, it's astonishing. So the match rules, we don't have to go over the match rules, right? Let's skip the match rules section, but they do have it at the start of the match in case you don't know how it works. It's 2 teams competing against each other. We saw it at Survivor Series, and like they mentioned, it was also featured in NXT in one of the previous TakeOver pay-per-views, so we really don't have to get into all that. But you win by pinfall and submission, just so you know. And the arenas available, which I do want to get into the thick of that, is NXT TakeOver War Games, which looks badass. It's like the NXT 2.0 arena from what I saw, but they have the cages in the crowd. And then the Survivor Series War Games arena, it's basically the same thing, but on a larger scale, which I thought was a good idea. You know, they weren't able to scan the real arena layout that they had. It was brand new by WWE. They didn't make it in time. So what they did was take what they set up for NXT, and they brought it into the Survivor Series. I didn't get to play, Walk. I didn't get to play. Yeah, I know. I'm acting like I got to play. I didn't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to fool you, but I didn't mean to word it like that. But whatever. Point is, you could play solo or multiplayer, 3v3 or 4v4. There's options for you. You don't have to, stick to just one. There's no shortage of mayhem, whether playing solo or with friends, and you can play online. Like I said, this is something that we're going to have a lot of fun with on stream. So if you guys aren't following the channel, I suggest you do so right here, right now. As part of the match setup, players are also going to have the option to randomize the team advantage, which team gets the 2v1 advantage after the first new entrant, or to assign it to a specific side. That's cool. So they're giving you customization as to how you can pick the opponents and how it ends up turning out throughout the match. I really like that. So entrance intervals can be customized between 30 seconds. By default, superstars enter the match every 90 seconds. So basically what they're saying is that you could accelerate it, and it could go up to range. It could range between 30 seconds to 5 minutes. That's real cool to know, considering that sometimes you want to stretch it out a bit and you want to add a little bit more time. Now, remember, if you get pinned, the match is over. Once a match begins, players take control of the superstars they choose. If that superstar is waiting in a holding cage, they can either let the AI play until it's their turn or join the match by pressing the view button on Xbox or the touchpad on PlayStation to quickly swap superstars on the team they are controlling without having to go into the pause menu. Awesome. So that's a feature they had before where you could switch between superstars. Now they're bringing it to War Games as well, and it's going to be a seamless transition. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Everything I'm reading is awesome. I don't care. I'm going to repeat it. I'm like the Miz right now, all right? We're doing a little Miz TV action, all right? Fans can experience War Games in local multiplayer with up to 4 players on Steam and PlayStation and up to 6 on Xbox. Players can play on the same team or be split up into members of each team. Nice. So we could just split it up. We're also happy to give players the ability to play War Games in online multiplayer for up to 8 players across the same platform family. Now, see, I read this on the tweet, and this is what I wanted to kind of get into with you guys. So the first statement I read was actually for offline, local multiplayer, okay? And then the second is online multiplayer. Online multiplayer is where it gets a little hectic with the 8 players across the same platform. Now, I'm wondering if that means Xbox One and Xbox Series. They're saying the same platform family versus same generation. Pay attention to the wording here. So if you're on Xbox, you can play with anyone on Xbox, and if you're on PlayStation, you can play with anyone on PlayStation. So I think the generation split is gone based on the way they worded this. Now, it can change from here to launch. Maybe they worded it wrong, but that's one thing to notice. The same platform family. That is pretty darn cool, especially for the streams. We were playing 2K last year, or within the last year or so, and people wanted to join, and because they were on PS4 and we were on PS5, we couldn't, or we were on the Series console and they were on Xbox One, we couldn't. So the fact that just being on the same platform allows you to play together online, that's awesome. So let's see how that works out. With 2 rings and double wide steel cage, there's plenty of carnage to be had during War Games. Now, back to the arenas. I mentioned Survivor Series and NXT TakeOver without even diving into the My Rise specific arena. So apparently, My Rise will feature this mode as well. This match type. And it's going to be an arena you unlock, and then you'll be able to use it during your regular playthrough. Outside of My Rise, I think. So that'll be very, very cool if we can now access this new way of unlocking, arenas or attires. That'll be nice. So now we're scrolling down to some of the gameplay features. With no disqualifications, players can introduce objects into the match by digging around under the ring and pulling out tables, stop signs, candlesticks, and more. And that's before you get into the match, just so you guys know, in case you haven't seen the gameplay. I can't showcase the gameplay on the channel. If you guys haven't been following the channel, I'm sorry. I can't hit play. I'll get copywritten by 2K, Take-Two, and all of them. They don't want me to showcase the game, but I'm here talking about it anyways because I'm passionate and I'm excited and I'm hyped and I'm ready. I want you guys to be ready too, damn it. So I'm trying to get y'all involved. Players can steadily make their way up the cage wall, eventually sitting atop the cage before getting to their feet. Once on their feet, it's a long way down, which is bad news for the opponents on the receiving end of a massive splash. So yes, you could climb the top and jump down. That's amazing. With 2 rings to compete in, the action is frenzied and regularly takes place in both rings at the same time, including the space in between, which that is the trench. The trench is where it goes down. It's between both rings and there's a steel plate. You could drop your opponent on their head. That's really nice. Really nice. And in the outro, they're saying, War Games' introduction into the franchise has been a long time coming. We are eager for you to get in the ring and experience it for yourself. War Games is just one of many exciting features you'll find in WWE 2k23, but we don't want to reveal everything just yet. Stay tuned for more Ringside reports. Whether you're reading it on their page, which I'm going to have the link in the comment section. If you want to read it on the page, that's fine and dandy. But if not, follow LexxExpress. I will be streaming it and uploading a video covering each Ringside report to help you guys understand what they're showcasing. In this one, it was pretty easy. I didn't have to break down too much, obviously, as you guys saw. But we already saw most of this in the videos leading up into this article. So ultimately, you know, it is what it is. I'm just happy that we're getting some 2K23 news and we're able to cover it on the channel. At the end of the day, whether we show screenshots, gameplay or not, the conversation doesn't stop. That's all I know. They ain't stopping us, all right? I'm like the gold standard Shelton Benjamin. Ain't no stopping me. No. Let's go, man. I'm ready for 2K23.